You need to spin your ball, you need to be close to the pin, you need to not scuff them across the green. Why is that? Let's review a club. Welcome back to the McGolf Shop and the Club Review, and I'm combining this from last night. Welcome back to the McGolf Fittings Shop, and again I am in my fitting studio, and as you can tell on the outside you can see the reflection of the light, but it is what it is. It was 8:30, 9 o'clock, and I was going over a lot of stuff, and I really didn't think I said all the things I needed to say. Okay, welcome back to the McGolf Shop. Just to get this out of the way, if you really like this review, how about you like the video and subscribe? That way you'll be able to see more of what comes down the range for the Fitting Fridays and Tools of the Trade Tuesday. And this is a Fitting Friday video, and whatever day I'm going to post it on. And we are reviewing wedges. It's late. Had a busy day and very happy to have that, as the weather has now gone from 40 degrees to 85 all in one shot. Welcome to Ohio. All right, wedges. Why do you need a wedge? Well, you know, when you're in the sand, typically, you got a short shot that needs to land soft. You're in the second cut of rough. Becomes a very, very useful tool. And with the fact that the clubs are getting so much stronger nowadays, the idea of just 2 wedges in the bag doesn't swing anymore. You know, now we're in 3 and 4 wedges. So how do you know what kind of wedge that you need? That's part of this review. So if you want to know more, if you want to really find out about it, come along with us, because we'll talk about that towards the end. All right, Callaway. We are doing a Callaway MacDaddy4 Wedge. All right, Callaway MacDaddy4 Wedge. And they come in 4 wedges. They have the W grind, the C grind, the S grind, and now the X grind. All right, the X grind is one that has an extraordinarily amount of high heel and toe relief. It also comes in high bounce numbers. This is for the person that is very artistic around the greens, we'll call it, not afraid to thump into the ground, might have a lot of hilly conditions for the heel and toe relief, and allows that for the blade to be open quite a bit. Extraordinarily friendly club as long as you're not afraid to swing the wedge. Second one is the C grind. Okay, the C grind is the next wedge that has heel and toe relief, just not as much as the X grind. That is probably one that most people that have hilly conditions, soft conditions, thick conditions would probably end up liking. You can open it up, and it comes in standard bounce type offerings. The third is the S grind, and the S grind basically we just call it standard. There's virtually no heel or toe relief in it. It looks like a standard wedge. Very, very nice. If you're that guy that's just points the wedge at a hole and takes a swing, this is for you. You want to take a look at that. And finally, there is the W grind. W grind means wide sole. Again, for the guy that's very vertical, plays in very fluffy type environments. Very thick grass would probably end up liking this particular club. Now, what makes this thing so special? Well, the new grooves. Mr. Cleveland, who came up with the MacDaddy4, really wanted to make this wedge work and work well. And so he basically went right back to the drawing board and went to the tour and spent a lot of time on tour. They'll say it's tour inspired for the most part. And he retooled the shape so it looks more like the MD2, but it has a lot of the cosmetics of the MD3, except, you know, the MD3 was more of a greenish color, where the MacDaddy4s are now red. So those of us in the Buckeye State will really like this. This kind of goes with the colorings. So those that like the red, there you are. They also come with the Dynamic Gold Tour Issue S200 115. That's a mouthful. All right. Dynamic Gold Tour issue S15. All right, and they all come in that. And finally, they all come with the nice new red Lamkin UTX standard grip, which is corded. All right, excellent little grip. Okay, it makes it so it finishes out the club with the red logo, the red stampings, the red ink, and now the red grip. So it does very well. So you'll have 4 different grinds. You have a new face grind. That's kind of weird. You have a new face in the way of the grooves are milled differently, and then what's more importantly are the grooves within the grooves. And what they do here is they take this incredibly small saw and they saw grooves in between the big grooves. So instead of worrying about the depth of the grooves that are between the grooves, it's more about the raised areas of the grooves in between the grooves. And it bites, okay? I've taken this thing out on 3 rounds now, and I've had MD2s, MD3s, and now these are the 4s. And by far this is the most friendliest wedge and the stoppingest wedge I've ever put in the bag. It works, okay? The thing about making those grooves within the grooves is that they can only make, the blade is so narrow and so small that they only get about 12 to 14 club heads grooved before they have to go to a new saw. So there's a lot of precision in this wedge, okay? So how do you finish this off? Well, you get fit so that you get the right length, all right? Even if a wedge is short, it's probably one of the easiest clubs to maneuver. However, you still need it, if you're going to grip on it the same way as you're going to grip on all your other irons, these wedges need to fall in line with your irons, okay? So if you're a 1/2 inch short, you get a 1/2 inch short iron, or wedge, all right? That's just what you do. And that way you stand over the ball with the same way as, instead of having to remember, oh, I got to choke down, all right? The very paramount thing that you have to find out is the right lie angle, all right? Because as the loft of the club gets higher, the lie angle becomes way important, okay? And it's directional control. And that's what you want to do, is have good directional control with these things. You're interacting with the turf. You're not towing it, heeling it. You're getting all that club into the turf, and you're allowing the bounce to work for you, okay? And so again, a little trick of the trade is the fluffier the conditions, the thicker the conditions, the higher bounce that you want, quite possibly the wider sole to help you out, and if you can't get a high bounce. If you're in hard pan type conditions, or your sand has just little bits of sand in it, what I did, you can go with a lower bounce. Now, what I did, hitting the regular balls versus the range balls, low bounce would be between 6 and the range balls 8, and we'll talk about average being 10 in the sand wedge. If you look, high being 12 and 14 the range balls didn't spin very much. Those would be high. Now, the chrome softs, again, as although I don't think I caught by saying a lob wedge, the launch monitor very much, but they actually spun a lot more than the other ones did. So you can get a lower 3,000 RPM lob wedge, okay? So if you can get it, it's kind of common, you might see a 10 or 12 degree sand wedge and then get yourself a 10 or 8 degree lob wedge, reverse respectively. So you want to make sure you get those to see those. So go to a fitter and ask them their opinion, especially the guy that's local, or you can contact me and tell me about the conditions, tell me how you swing, and I can get you at least into the general area of what you need, and then make sure that your wedges are bent correctly, grip correctly, and you should have some winners. So we'll start over. All right, so I hit, there's always been a contention on whether or not, 1, if the launch monitor is seeing spin, 2, if it's, when it catches, is it real, and do the regular balls spin more than the range balls, because it's always supposed to be the other way around, right? Well, it's not. And you'll be seeing, so I hit chrome softs, my Wilson range balls, and the super softs. And although I think what it is the default spin rate is around 1200 to 1400 when you hit a ball and it doesn't really catch it, and you'll see a lot of that on here. It's more about when it does catch it, what does it say? And with the range balls, it was around 4,000 RPM. With the Chrome Soft, it was closer to 9 to almost 10,000 RPM, and with the with the Super Softs, it was closer to probably another 1,000 less, so between 7 and 8,000 RPM. So it does make a difference. So if you're wanting to bite, and I'm hitting a wedge with between a 75 and 80 mile an hour swing speed. That's also another reason to choose a particular kind of ball. If my swing speed was a little slower, the Chrome Soft might very well, or I'm sorry, the Super Soft may very well spin out where the Chrome Soft will not. So you want to be particularly, sensitive to that issue. And hopefully you liked the video, and if you did, like it and subscribe. That way you can see more of these reviews and some more tips for other golf clubs. And let's see your scores go low.